Hi, good morning. This is Ram Krishan from Elemental Arts, and today I'm just reflecting on the times that we're living in and just how unpredictable everything is. Really, since COVID 2020, we've seen tremendous shifts within our culture. We've seen essentially the direction that things could go if mass fear takes root within our society, and just the amount of shutdown that can happen in what we're familiar with, and what also in many ways we depend upon to live, to sustain our lives or our families' lives, and just how fragile that system and structure really is. And as you know, we've come out of this era of COVID and the shutdowns and the lockdowns and the isolation, and we've once again started to reconnect with each other. In certain ways, it seems like this all is almost like a dream, like it's faded away as if it never really existed. But we have to remember, this was only just a couple years ago. This is something that is very real, and in my opinion, it was very clear lessons, many angles to learn and to see just how things are. And as we move forward, we're seeing this emergence of AI and this emergence of more and more rapidly evolving forms of technology that in many ways are going to also change the landscape of everything that we know. But the future is now. We're living in this way off idea of what's possible. It's really evolving very, very quickly. So just as unstable as we've seen recently, we have to really understand that even though things feel familiar and comfortable, and it creates a certain type of stability that gives our mind this idea of consistency and therefore peace, this is something that is very fragile. When I was younger, in my 20s, I was traveling around constantly. This was just my life. I was in a different state, New York, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Washington, D.C., in different places throughout the week. And I would sleep in a different place every different station that I lived in. And oftentimes I slept outside under the stars in a sleeping bag, and this was my way. I taught classes, and I just traveled constantly. I didn't have any sort of outer stability, and I quickly came to realize that the only type of stability that I could depend on was my own rhythm, was my own consistent discipline, in which came from the inside. And it was nothing that came from the outside. It was stimulated by the understanding and the feeling of how everything was constantly changing. But it took my own will and my own choice, continual choice, to develop a consistent discipline and rhythm for myself, so that there was a degree of crystallization internally that I could depend on, that I could find stability in. And this is really the necessity of these times, is that we find stability inside. We find the stability in ourselves. We find the stability in something that becomes crystallized within us, and then the outer world does not shake that. The outer world does not even touch that. That is our sense of identity and our sense of self, and it's something that is formed through consistent behaviors. So this is the call of these times. We're not going to see a slowing down of the world outside, or the movement, or any of that. What we need to do is slow down ourselves. We need to take the time and stop the world and focus on creating within ourselves the peace that we seek. So this video is a reminder to simply take the time each day for yourself to touch in, to connect with what's most important to you, and to bring that to life in whatever degrees and capacities you have to do that. each and every day. In the morning, before the sun rises, before the collective psyche is awakened, in the darkness of your own subconscious and unconscious parts of yourself, do the work, show up to yourself, and bring alignment and coherence into your world, into your life. Develop whatever sort of practice you can every day and consistently. And this will create the stability amidst all the movement, all the change, and only God knows what is to come. So wishing you